Life can be complicated at times, rambling about putting our minds to work. A couple of weeks ago, I bought a book from our local Oxfam shop, which I was delighted to find. It was a copy of C.S. Lewis's Christian Behaviour, which is just a collection of short essays, but it contains one of my favourites, The 3 Parts of Morality. Having mentioned Oxfam, I feel obliged to provide a quick side note about them. I don't like the charity. In fact, I think they're potentially doing far more harm than good in the world, given the revelations about the sexual exploitation accusations against senior members of their organisation, particularly those working in Haiti. However, they are the only local charity shop that reliably has good quality old books donated to them. I would much rather spend my money elsewhere. Their former CEO, Halima Begum, gave a damning interview to Channel 4 this week about a culture of anti-Semitism within the organisation, which has increased since October the 7th. No trivial accusation for Halima to make, given that she's a Muslim. She described a culture within the organisation that struggled to maintain its relationship with neutrality or impartiality, something that is of no surprise to anyone who has ever seen an Oxfam shop window. This small personal quandary I find myself in, wanting to find and buy interesting old books, yet Oxfam of all places being the only place locally that stocks them, is a nice picture of real life. Life constantly supplies us with opportunities to make tough decisions. Life can be complicated at times. Last summer, the co-op members voted to remove all Israeli products from their shelves with the support of nearly 3/4, or 73%, of their membership. I would consider that action to be anti-Semitic too. The convenience store on my housing estate is a co-op. I tried not to shop there anyway, mostly because of their prices, if I'm being completely honest with you. But would their new anti-Israel stance be enough to stop you giving them your money when you're out of some vital ingredient and you've already started cooking dinner? Life can be complicated at times. This past week has seen door-to-door canvassing by activists in Brighton, Bristol and Sheffield who are encouraging all households to boycott products from Israel. In an even more sinister twist, they've been spotted marking down which houses they, quote, don't need to return to, whatever that means. Are these volunteers marking their houses which have Jewish residents, or houses who are happy to boycott Israel? Either seems off to me. This is hatred masquerading as compassion. Unsurprisingly, this canvassing has gained support from the Green Party and Jeremy Corbyn, both of whom have an uncanny ability to find Israel as a country and the Jewish people in particular as the bogeyman behind any given situation. Who can forget the Gipton and Hare Hills local council result in 2024, where the winning Green Party candidate very clearly dedicated the win to the people of Gaza? For clarity, Mothin Ali's election to a local council in Leeds has got nothing to do with Gaza, nor does he have any power or budget to help anyone in Gaza in his capacity as a local council member in Leeds. If you're going to watch the video below, please watch it right to the end for a sample of his passion on the subject. The last puzzling event that caught my attention this week was that of the MP Rupert Lowe's rape gang inquiry going completely unnoticed by our national broadcaster, despite 20,000 people having donated £600,000 to fund the inquiry. They simply haven't covered it, positively or negatively. It just didn't exist in their mind. In a statement issued yesterday following complaints, they said, "We have limited resources and it's not possible to report on every story which is of interest to our audiences. We know that not everyone will agree with our choice of what to cover or the prominent stories are given. Our news editors make these complex decisions based on their editorial merit and other stories in the news that day." BBC, 17th of February 2026. They did, however, find time to let us know that this week a crisp packet from 1989 was found by a litter picker in Leeds. Exciting stuff! Hold the front page! Life can be complicated at times. I've already mentioned that I like old books. That is not particularly unusual. Lots of folks do. But the benefit of this is sometimes people find old books and give them to me. What a treat! This week, a friend of mine came and gave me 3 old books, simply because they're old and he knew that I'd be interested. Sadly, I forgot to take a photo, otherwise I'd include a picture of them for you. The first looks like a personal journal. It contains cigarette packet-sized cards of churches in the Bromley area, dating from the 1860s and 1870s. It's filled with notes and loose papers, which are a combination of advertisements and important things the writer didn't want to forget 150 years ago. The second is a collection of Victorian periodicals called The Leisure Hour. My copy is just like the one shown in the collection of the British Museum. They were produced by the Religious Tract Society as a magazine for people to read that was going to put their leisure time to good use. The last of the three books is a blank notebook, which dates from the same era as the other two books. It has been filled lovingly by someone handwriting each of the 150 psalms in a beautiful fountain pen script. I have a friend who did this as a devotional exercise a few years ago. I tried it, but my own handwriting is so frustratingly bad I didn't find it a helpful exercise personally. I liked this book the best of the three, perhaps because it was a discipline I had tried and failed at myself. Perhaps because it is objectively a beautiful thing to hold in your hand. And perhaps because you can feel the time that the person has spent hunched over the tiny pages of the blank notebook with their fountain pen in one hand and the other pointing to the relevant verse in the Bible open in front of them. A scene that must surely have been played out 150 times. I feel like I know this person just a little. They succeeded where I failed. They put in the work. Hats off to them, whoever they are. They didn't mark their name in the book as far as I can see. Back to the C.S. Lewis book I started this ramble with. On page 13, there's a fantastic quote which we would all do well to take note of. God is no fonder of intellectual slackers than of any other slackers. If you're thinking of becoming a Christian, I warn you, you are embarking on something which is going to take the whole of you, brains and all. C.S. Lewis. That's a cracking quote, but it's followed up by this, which is equally good. One of the reasons why it needs no special education to be a Christian is that Christianity is an education itself. C.S. Lewis. Those two quotes sum up how I feel about the complexity of the world we live in. All of us have the difficult decisions to make daily. Where do I shop? Who do I vote for? Am I really learning to love the Lord my God with all my heart, mind, soul and strength? Like Mark 12 verse 30. As Christians, it's tempting sometimes to shrink back from thinking too deeply about certain things. We're often happy to love the Lord with our hearts and souls, but we can get a bit uneasy when we pause to think about what it might look like to love Him with our mind and our strength. The attitude of, it's all about me and Jesus, has an allure to it. It's easy to accidentally slip into, no matter how misguided it is. Our faith shouldn't be kept inside the walls of our own heart. It should overflow in the way that we live our lives, into the choices we make. It needs to find outward expression in our friendships and our lifestyle and our thinking. Or, in Lewis's words, it's going to take the whole of you, brains and all. It's absolutely not my intention of burdening anyone with a sense that they need to do more. That is not what I'm saying at all. However, I think it's good to intentionally face some hard questions from time to time. It's good for you. It helps your faith grow. Watch your life and doctrine closely. Persevere in them, because if you do, you will save both yourself and your hearers. 1 Timothy 4, verse 16. Today is the start of Lent. Why not use these next 6 weeks as a chance to stretch your mind muscles a bit? For some people, that might look like reading these rambles each week. Some people tell me that I make them think about topics that they otherwise wouldn't, which is a compliment in my book. For others, you may want to grab a devotional book for Lent, or choose to read the Passion narratives in all 4 Gospels. If you've never tried this, please let me recommend it. You can grab a cheap Bible online. I found an ESV on deal not long ago for just £2. Mark up each character in the story in a different colour as you read through. I did this a couple of years back and it really helped me see details I'd never noticed before. And it's great fun to do, and it can help you learn things as you do it. Whatever loving God with your brain and strength looks like in your own life, make space for it. Please don't take that in the patronising way. I just want to encourage you as brothers and sisters in Christ. Let's be like those who watch our lives and doctrine closely. Remember what Lewis says about Christianity itself being an education. We're supposed to allow God to transform our thinking. Our minds need renewing. Don't copy the behaviour and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. That's enough for today. Thanks if you stayed with me this far. It's safe to say that this was not at all what I had planned to write today. I'm as surprised as you are that we took our tangent into Green Party politics and calling out Oxfam. But you can't say that I didn't warn you that this genuinely is a ramble with my own thoughts. The clue is literally in the title. Today has very much been a journey with my thoughts. If all this has stirred up thoughts in you too, why not leave me a comment or come and have a chat with me next time you see me? If you have a friend who you think might like rambles like this, why not send them a link? Thanks for joining me today. I hope you can join me again for another ramble with my thoughts. Grace and peace.